All right, welcome into another edition of the Orestes Destrade show. Man, do we have a big O show for you today.
A thankful show this week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, JP Peterson.
Much to be thankful for, Orestes Destrade.
A ton, man. A ton to be thankful for this year. For our families. We both lost our fathers. But by the way, man, I got to mention it on the air. What a wonderful post you made on your dad.
Thank you.
I thought it was
Thank you.
Extremely heartfelt because you were able to hit both sides of what your father meant to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on the one side, there was obviously the contentious, scenarios. You could read it in your words that it wasn't perfect. But on the flip side, there was this other part of it, which was, man, he was my dad, and we did have some really good times. And towards the end of it, you guys came back together. And you even tied in Cullen, and how you do with your son.
Yeah.
So we learned we got to be thankful for our wins and losses in life.
Oh, well said.
And I think that's kind of what I got out of your post with as recent as my father passing away. That's what I got. It's like you understood the wins and the losses of your own dad, and you're implementing it into your own life.
It's interesting. I've got a lot of reaction from that post, and
Wonderful post.
It wasn't what I meant to do. And I wrote it in the middle of the night, a week after my father passed, because I just kind of felt
that's the best time because your heart felt it.
Yeah. And it definitely has touched a lot of people. And I wonder, because we're the same age,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of us dealt with fathers that were not very, and I don't, I'm not saying this about your dad.
Mine never said I love you.
Isn't it crazy?
Mine never.
But they loved us.
But they loved us. My dad loved the hell out of me.
Yeah, but they just couldn't say it.
It was just a different era.
I used to say all that. Love you, Dad. Okay, bye.
All the time.
And I would laugh because I just you can't say it. It's weird. It's weird. And our parents, I don't want to say they didn't, and I think it was better. They didn't helicopter us. They let us grow up.
No,
they weren't at every practice, driving us to every travel game.
Right.
They
were working a lot.
They were freaking working. Or mom was drinking, whatever it was,
whatever it was.
But
Stuff
it was
going on, and we had to do it.
Yeah, it was fine, but it was fine, and it, at the time I didn't feel like a victim. I didn't feel, it was just like you just kind of soldiered on.
Yes.
And as I look back, it was a great upbringing,
right?
Because it made me incredibly resilient.
Yeah.
And I needed those skills later in life,
right?
Big time,
right?
When the crisis hit. And they will hit, and you can't go run into mommy.
No,
you can't go run into mommy or daddy, and they're not going to fix everything. So, in a blessed way, I brought up in, it wasn't an easy upbringing, but that's okay.
Right.
I think honestly, the children of today are going to be ill prepared for the really hard times that I think are ahead.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and that's
the
sad.
Children you're talking about, it's like from realistically, that teenager on up, and maybe even younger. But it really is. When I read it and when I digested it, it's like you gotta prepare for the wins and losses because you're going to have losses. And I don't mean
and it helped me as a parent. I don't know if it helped you as a parent, but
totally. It helped me because the fact that he wasn't as loving because that was the era,
mm-hmm.
I became more loving.
Right. Exactly.
So
Same
I hug
thing.
My kids all the time.
I tell them I love them all the time.
And
they say about it. It's good. We didn't mean to get into this, but
it pertains to this era, to this week, which is the thankfulness week.
Absolutely.
It's a family and friends week. And our loss that we had, it makes us think about life and again, reeling it all the way back to the passion that we're about, which is sports. There's always a connectedness with that. I love the fact that, you were able to bring him back to Pasadena and where he grew up and he, was able to enjoy that great
FSU football
game. So there's so much connectedness between sports and family.
Yeah, my son and I go to an away game
How
or an
cool is
FSU
that?
game every year.
Yeah, and it's
So we
always
connect.
an away game for some reason.
Mhm.
Why, I didn't.
Well, now that he lives in Chicago, coming back to Tallahassee is kind of an away game anyway.
Yeah, true.
So it's just but we share a weekend and we
It's a weekend.
we come together.
Big
Yeah,
deal out of it.
yeah. So it's cool.
Yeah, you learn a lot from family, even if you had some negativity. You should.
All right. Well, we're going to get into some Rays baseball. There's some stadium news that we will. I don't know if it's breaking news,
Right.
but we're you and I are privy to a lot of the back channel things that are going on with the stadium. So we're going to get into that. Much of it will I think it will be news to a lot of you. And then there's been a big trade today. Sonny Gray going to to the AL East.
coming back to the AL.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. Those of you that remember Sonny Gray from back in the day. I mean, this is a true veteran righty pitcher. You can think of like the Charlie Mortons of the world. That's so we'll talk a little bit about him, and another trade too that was probably lesser but still interesting. The Mets traded, one of their stellar, constant core players in Nemo for Marcus Semien, and I think that was just a statement by the Mets of like, we need a change, and even though it's a core guy, we need a culture change. So we need a culture change, bring in a new voice, a new type of player, kind of similar players in the age bracket and what they're putting out on the field, but nevertheless,
different voices. Yeah.
Different voices.
All right. So let's get into the Rays a little bit here in their stadium situation. It's been kind of quiet and that's by design.
I think so.
Yeah. This group is very much hard at work trying to get their plans down, because it's not just a baseball stadium, by the way, folks. This is a mixed use project that's going to be $5-6 billion when it's all told. And obviously they need 100 acres for that, is what they're looking for. This is a big, big, big type of build out. So it's going to be very complicated in terms of public money.
Right.
And the presentation to the public. And yes, they are looking at both sides of the bay.
I think that's reality right now. I
St.
think
Petersburg.
And I think the gas plant district is being pushed predominantly by Ken Welch, the mayor right now. He's going to be up for election, and he obviously is going to run on that. On his pulpit is going to be like, hey, I could hopefully, win the Rays back.
I screwed this up once.
Well,
and I feel bad for him, but
that I was going to say, screwed is in there, but he would change the context. It goes, I got screwed this up once. I got screwed once. And so as opposed to I screwed it up.
He should have seen it coming.
Wow.
I warned him.
Wow.
I warned him.
Wow.
Well, maybe it was a sneak. It was a sneak attack.
A relationship type thing. Once you got in bed with me, you should have known what was going to happen.
Listen, like you start a relationship by cheating on your wife with another woman, and then you marry that woman, and that woman cheats on you. Whose fault is that?
It was the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
And, but no, I think
you got to know who you're dealing with.
I do think that it's going to be an interesting, towards the beginning of this year, because the catch with what was there before there was ever a sale was an incredible deal agreed upon back in spring of 24.
Boondoggle.
A boondoggle. That's a good word. And chock full of like a lot of positives towards the team owner, obviously being Stuart Sternberg.
Right.
And all these kind of concessions and just great points for whatever reason that we won't know, just like we don't know why, certain things happen in business. He did, he reneged on the deal. Obviously, everybody can go and point to the hurricane. It was way much more than that.
Way more than that.
But the hurricane was kind of like maybe the straw that broke the camel's back for Stu. And there goes the deal. Well, conceivably, if the deal is put back on the table, which it has to be completely put back on the table and agreed upon. Oh, by the way, again, it was a very attractive deal.
Oh my God, it was a boondoggle for the Rays, for Stu Sternberg. It was a ridiculous. It was a terrible deal for the city of St. Petersburg, and there are commissioners on the commission right now the city council that have since been elected
Right.
that have said that deal is not going to be available, or I'm certainly not going to vote for it. So I don't know if that deal is going to be available to this group.
On the dollars and cents,
based on what they've
shouldn't
said.
be available because it was such a one-sided deal.
Yeah.
But on the side of like, we're going to lose this team to the other side of the bay.
Yeah.
Do you think that possibly the lure, even amongst the city council members and the community, is like, keep the bay, keep the Rays at all costs?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't live in St. Pete. I'm just going by what these city councilmen have said.
Of a chance that it could happen. You don't think that?
I think the deal was
at the dollars and cents.
I think the deal was so exposed for being horrible,
right?
And that's not just me saying.
No,
that's the city council folks that worked on it. The fact that Welch is probably I don't see how he gets reelected after that disaster, and the fact that people now know that's what you were going to give them. Like you need to. Right. So I don't know. So now you're mixing in all the politics. Can it even get approved?
Correct.
And I don't think it can.
But I think the dialogue is going on.
The dialogue is going on. This is what we've learned. There is dialogue going on as to what might be available in St. Petersburg now. Now, at the same time, I know that this Rays group is still doing incredible amount of due diligence on HCC. That is the spot that they've settled on. I'm not saying that's a done deal. I'm saying that's what they're doing. Their extensive work on all their models are basically based on that and how that build out could be. Now they have been planning to meet with Hillsborough County Commission, and that hasn't happened yet. And they've said, okay, we're going to maybe next week. Right. So they're still working on a lot of these things. There's a lot of moving parts, but
I will interject, and I want you to continue, but just interesting, last week I was at an event at which I met a professor of English at HCC at this particular event. It was an education event. And I took him aside on purpose. And I went like,
where are you teaching next year?
Yeah, kind of.
Right.
I was like, so what? Well, he says, I've talked to the president, and all things look like our biggest concern is, are we staying there? And this is a gentleman, and I'll leave him outside of the equation. And he said that, yeah, we're good to go. And they would have all that land. And if it were to happen, we're not going anywhere. And they're protecting HCC. Yeah. There might be a few of the older buildings and stuff like that. So it was interesting that he. Yeah,
you don't have to move the whole thing.
The professors and their concern of like, are we going to be uprooted from here?
Well, listen, and it can be part of.
That was interesting.
And I think that's it. I think it's interesting because if I'm going to build a bunch of restaurants and hotels and condominiums, you know what I like? People.
Yeah.
People on campus. I like students on campus. I like teachers that need apartments. Yeah. I like all of that is good for you. The more people you can bring to the area, the more anchors you can have, like a Hillsborough College.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having a college on this 100-acre campus is a great, that's a benefit.
I think so.
I mean, I think that's a plus. It's not like, we all assume, we just got to mow the whole thing. Oh, no, the stadium is on, on a small footprint, and then they're going to work all the bars, restaurants, retail, hotels around it. So yeah, it's all, to be decided. And I think it's a great location. I think it brings, again, we'll talk about this because we have to reset. St. Pete is St. Pete. And if they're going to give you tons of money up front, and that's the only way you can get a deal done, then okay. But long term, it's not the spot. And if you're going to invest in hotels and residential and all this major stuff, you want to put it in an area where you're going to have the most people accessible to it. And that's not St. Petersburg. It's more in the middle of the market. So these are all just demographics. And I think that's what they're looking at. But in the end, if you can't come up with the money to get the deal done at HCC and you need that extra money up front to get it done in St. Pete, then that's what it is. But I think these guys do have the money, and I do think there is a pathway. I think, frankly, that they're probably going to use that as
there's no
leverage. against Hillsborough County. Like, look, can we get a little bit more?
Whether you want to call it leverage or just business dealing.
Leverage does have kind of a negative connotation to it. I don't mean it that way.
I don't think it's that. I think it's we're going to look over here.
It's business.
And we're going to look over here.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, both are building multiplex. Well, I'll pull that back. Because conceivably, if the ACC baseball build out multi-use is not the spot, they might be looking at, down the road to still do something and develop that. But we know for a fact that the gas plant is going to be going
redeveloped.
It's going to the redevelopment is happening,
right?
With or without
a baseball stadium,
right. With or without a soccer stadium,
right?
Because that would be probably plan B for them to put a rowdies there that would then attract MLS at a uber level. Because if you've got the rowdies in the USL playing at a major league soccer type stadium, because it's going to be state of the art, now you might, now all of a sudden the rowdies, are easier route to become, to be added to the MLS. So it is interesting to think that development is happening. That developed the gentrification, the build out. So to your point and your question of like, the way I look at it is if you build it, they will come. Couldn't conceivably that people will be attracted to the area
in St. Pete?
Yeah, absolutely. People from Sarasota say, not only is there a baseball game there, but oh my gosh, they've also built this and they built that. Look at downtown St. Pete, brother. Downtown St. Pete is bustling.
Yeah.
And people come from all over the Tampa Bay area to go to downtown St. Pete for festivals and for dining.
And when is that? On the weekends.
Great point.
It's on the weekends, and that's what this is all about. It's about, in terms of baseball, it's Monday through Thursday.
That's true.
When it comes to location, it's Monday through Thursday, which it turns out to be about 65% of your home games, I believe, 60 to 60.
Can you fulfill that?
Yeah, so that's when you need a bigger pot to draw from.
Yeah.
It's if you have 600,000 people within a half hour, that's one thing. If you have 1.75 to 2 million, it's another thing. And you want to draw from the biggest pile that you can close. And it's all, so that's what makes location so important in terms of real estate.
I've got an answer. When The Age of Disclosure comes out, the documentary, and they find out that there's aliens in the water, because the problem with St. Pete is that you hit a lot of water all over there.
Right. So we can bring the aliens up now.
And they can come to the
camp. It's brilliant. Well, but not. But I'll take it one step further. They will bring in the new mode of transportation that is not powered but magnetically.
There you go.
Produced, and we can get from one spot to the next spot in 10 seconds.
I want that in our flying car playing for the Rays.
So we can dock it at the airport.
I want that legal alien playing for the Rays.
Legal. We fixed it. So, and again, a lot of this stuff that we're telling you guys is not. We're not reporting this. We're not reporting that. We are giving you the benefit of two guys who hear things and talk to people that are all involved in this.
We're connected. Yeah.
And this is this is what's happening, and you can make of it what you will. And so there's a lot of conversations going on. These are huge money deals.
Yes, that's the factor.
They're political in nature.
Huge money.
They're political in nature, which really screws things up. So the thing is, we know things, but we don't know anything.
Right. In
terms of factually what's going to happen, I still think it's a 90% chance, if not more, that it ends up at HCC. And I still think that 2029 is ambitious, but can be done.
Right.
So we'll see.
That's why the first quarter, when they have these city meetings and votes and things of next year, are going to be very, very huge and interesting. What comes out of these things for both sides.
Yeah. And I think we're going to get into a conversation of, okay, I know we want to open by 2029, and that's great. And projections are what they are, but politicians don't work that way. Politics doesn't work that way. And unless they have a really buttoned up, agreeable deal on both sides, which is going to be challenging. I get that. I'm not, sitting here blowing smoke up your ass that it's going to, it's 2029. It's definitely going to be HCC. No, there's nothing definite about it. That's the goal. They have the resources to do it. They have the political connections to do it. And so why not put that out there as the goal?
Well, JP, the great example of this inside of our own state of Florida, it's just 4.5 hours south.
Yeah.
Is the Miami Marlins.
Yeah.
And what technically was the debacle of how that all came about, putting the stadium probably where it should not have been put.
No.
Beautiful stadium, by the way.
Amazing.
An amazing stadium.
Financed to the hilt. Horribly financed. Terribly financed.
That the owner of the Rays, Loria of the Marlins, put in a pittance of the financing.
It's a joke.
Was gifted this. Subsequently, not that I see that happening here, sold off a bunch of his top players and was, got there and at least he had this incredible stadium. Now, the problem was that it put a lot of egg on the face of a lot of politicians. People got upset. People did not get appointed.
They got fired.
They got fired or they didn't get reelected, more importantly, because we're talking about politicians now. And that's what you're talking about. So that's where this all kind of comes together, because politicians are going to be looking at it as like, well, if I'm using the public's money and this is a horrible deal, I'm going to not get reelected.
Right.
And the politicians are about protecting the politicians.
That's right. That's their number one. Just get reelected. And make money on the back end.
So it's got, wow. Ouch. Yeah. Hey, yeah. You went to Tallahassee. Truth. You went to Florida State.
I seen it.
So the bottom line is that the jury's still out. There seems to be some logic to one side, but there is a big push on the other side, that being St. Pete.
And I'll say this again, and it's the most important part. They ain't effing leaving. They're not going anywhere.
Listen,
they're not leaving the market.
Orlando, I'm so sorry. Love the Old Town.
Maybe they get an expansion team.
They will not get an expansion team. That is a zero doubt chance of that.
But they're going to tell them they got a shot.
They're going to tell them till they're blue in the face that you got.
So they can have leverage over the other
but
expansion markets.
Expansion's not going to Jacksonville. Expansion's not going to Old Town. No. The best chance that Old Town has is that if the Marlins and somehow want to move toward something like that, relocation possibly.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening either. But regardless, it's a situation that is going to be one side of the bay, and we'll see how it. The next few months are going to be very interesting. Let's leave it at that.
Extremely interesting.
Keep watching, keep listening.
And that Trop is all the panels are up.
But here's the silver lining when you talk about the contrast of things. So you have on one side like what's going to happen. On the other side, we know what's going to happen. The Trop is back.
Yeah,
the panels are up. It looks great. They're working diligently. By the way, in record time, applaud to one thing you do have to applaud Ken Welsh, and however the city was able to matriculate, do all the things to get her done. And the biggest thing, really, if you really study that and study how it came about, they rushed those panels quicker than was expected. So it wasn't a matter of installing; it was a matter of procuring. And they were able to get them quicker from the company that makes them, which is in Europe, and got them in there, did the thing. Now it's the inside fixing. The Rays themselves are committing, several $1 million to other new features that I think are going to be exciting. New turf is going to be on, new walkways, new
flooring. It's going to look totally different.
It should look totally different. And you're in a major league ballpark, man. You and I both agree that the Trop is not the sweetest, not the sexiest, not the best, but it's a major league ballpark. And any way you look at it, we felt it once the team hit around August and they weren't winning and it was hot as hell. All of a sudden, Steinbrenner Field was not this cozy, great experience. And you saw it in attendance. So winning, obviously, if you're winning, people will go and watch you through a monsoon. But when you're not winning and it's hot and crazy, that's where the Trop comes in.
The other thing we talked a little bit on our JP show today, that there's a renaissance coming.
Yes.
There's a renaissance coming of baseball in Tampa Bay for a couple of reasons. And this is the best part of it, is Ken Babby is a master marketer coming from the roots of minor league baseball, which is something
successful minor league.
Yeah.
Baseball.
And how do they sell tickets? They make it fun.
Right. And
Rays baseball has not been fun for a while.
Right.
Because of all the bullshit that we talk about with the stadium, with Stu, with payroll, all this shit that 95% of what we talked about the Rays and on social media was about money and Stu and stadium and all that.
Right.
And now we have an opportunity to have an answer on the stadium, to get a real marketer back in there. He's already cutting prices on tickets. They're already announcing fun things that they're going to do. And that's just the beginning. And we can start talking about players again, possibilities of signing bigger, better players, keeping our players. Yeah, that's the magic of baseball.
Right.
Right. We can bring the conversation back to the field.
Right.
And support a team. When I take the money out of my pocket now, I'm feeling like I'm supporting something that's supporting the community, not giving it to some carpetbagger that's trying to take everybody for every last penny. So that totally changes the conversation and the dynamic. And man, I am here for it.
Yeah. And also, there is a bit of a perfect storm too, where you just had the most dramatic World Series. People are on a high with baseball.
Yes.
Right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. People are on a high with Major League Baseball and baseball on a whole. I just get this feeling, and I know I'm probably being biased because my algorithms in TikTok and on Instagram and on Twitter,
your info silo,
it's baseball centric, right? It's sports centric. So I get a lot of things, but it just seems like there's more and more and more because this World Series was so dramatic that it just kind of rose the vibration, if you will, and the frequency of people like remembering. I do love that game.
Baseball is magic.
Yeah. Baseball is magical. Baseball has so many, nuances to it and so many great, things, and the matchups and the decisions and the game of inches, been fed for, decades and decades. We saw it, that it was a game of inches, literally.
And the atmospheres,
on the slide at home,
yes,
and stuff like that. So this has to be used by the new ownership to kind of, invigorate what their program is, what their message, what their narrative is. And I think it is going to be fan friendly. And also community wise, they're already doing a lot of things. They've always, listen, I've never knocked them about doing the right things at the right time during Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
They've always been very good. So, when we talk about the community involvement, we're talking greater jobs, greater things, bringing in more businesses, smaller businesses, and ingratiating them. So it's not like they're not doing this, that, and the other. They're not doing nothing. It's doing bigger and doing what you're doing bigger. And I think that's on the precipice. And the fan engagement is going to be good, and hopefully the pricing is going to be affordable at times, and the things that are going to do creativeness. So and candidly, seeing the players more visible in the Tampa Bay area.
That'll be nice.
I would like to see the players. So-and-so was just here, so-and-so was there, and just see it. Well, you just talked about the beauty of when when the Rays were at its peak. I'm going to tell you, I feel when that was obviously on the heels of a surprising 2008 World Series. Yeah. Right.
That was the time. Yeah.
No, but it actually was a little after that. And I think it was because shortly after that, you had to come up, and David Price was a rookie. Yeah. He got called up and he pitched in the postseason, but it was really and Evan Longoria was a rookie.
Yeah.
Zobrist was a young player.
Shields was young.
Right? BJ was young.
Yeah.
Carl Crawford was the more veteran of the player. He had been there for a few years. The true glory of the Rays was during the latter years after that, because I was here,
8, 9, 10, 12.
12 was an injury-riddled year, and they struggled. 13, 14, you had these Cy Young winners and possible MVPs. Carlos Pena hitting for that was when, and why? because not only were they winning on the field, they weren't winning, all championships. They were making the playoffs, but everybody knew these players.
Yeah, they were out and about.
Yeah. Shields had a program. Benzo had Zorilla's thing. Everybody was out and
BJ
about.
was at every bar.
BJ was at every bar with Evan, by the way.
Yeah, that's right.
Together.
But that's what I mean. But that's part of it.
And the fandom was buying the shirts, and they were buying in. So how do you get that back again? You have to create a core.
Yeah.
You have to create a core.
Great point.
Of 4 or 5 players that you go, these
are our guys.
These are our guys.
Yeah. Let's get them out in the community.
And we're re-signing them, by the way.
Yes.
Okay. So then the downturn came when they gave up on all those guys, and they didn't even they kept basically one, Evan Longoria, for a little bit longer. And then they finally, when his contract, which was a staggered contract, hit the big boy numbers, he went off to San Francisco. So that's how you unite. So that's why I think there's a perfect storm. Baseball's super on a high right now. The Rays have 2 or 3 core players that they could, lean on. Aranda, Caminero, possibly Chandler, Simpson, those types. You need Williams could be one of those guys, along with a handful of other pitchers. Let's keep these guys. Let's tie these guys up, and even on sweetheart deals that at least for 6-7 years, these are our guys.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And you win and you live and die with them.
And I don't know if we've talked about the Rays trades. They made a couple of minor moves, brought in some young arms, did some Rule 5 stuff in terms of
the Rule 5
players.
stuff was big because they had to unload a couple of guys that they're trying to re-sign in Fraley. But in order to fit in the infamous Rule 5, which is will be in display next week at the winter meetings when they hold the Rule 5 draft, they needed to protect about 3 guys that weren't on the 40-man roster. What did that mean? By the wayside, there goes Jake Fraley. There goes your favorite outfielder, Christopher Morel. And though Fraley, they're trying to bring him back to the fold and not let him go out into free agency and or even try to trade him. They really want to keep him. I could see Christopher Morel trying to be packaged up in some whatever you can get for him and trade him. But the Rays definitely did some deals that they felt they needed to protect some guys that were juicy enough that they were going to lose to the Rule 5 trade draft.
So no major moves, but
right now.
And I think there might be some coming. I think they're setting up to make a major move in the outfield. Don't you think?
And interesting because another one, you had a couple of one-on-one trades, right? You had the Nemo for basically one-on-one, which is a rare thing to see back-to-back one-on-one trades. The Sonny Gray was not a one-on-one. Sonny Gray was literally a trade for 2 dramatic arms, by the way. Keep an eye on the kid Clark that they traded for. St. Louis traded for. He's 22 years old.
St. Louis sent Sonny Gray to the Red Sox.
St. Louis sent Sonny Gray to the Red Sox for Clark and for Fitz. Fitz had a little bit of a time up in the big leagues. Nice arm, big righty, power arm. Clark, now this kid is got a monster arm. Throws about 100, lefty. 3/4 kind of a nasty cut. A slurve slider. He could be something dramatic. They had to give something big in order to get Sonny Gray, who, by the way, is just a veteran. The best description I can think of is Charlie Morton. This guy that later in life, he's coming up on 34, I believe, has just been a stud. He's got 125 wins quietly in the major leagues, and but not quietly in the purse strings, by the way, because he became a free agent at the right time. St. Louis gave him a monster deal. He's to make $31 million this year. Boston doesn't have to pay all of that. They're getting a chunk from St. Louis. So that was a big deal. The ones that were one-on-one were the Marcus Semien straight up for Nemo. That was interesting. Mets, Texas. The other one I talked about last week, which was Taylor Ward was a guy that's, hit 36 home runs this year, had a breakout season for the Angels, and he went out and he's going to be a free agent next year. So he's going into his 6th year. Angels needed to trade him because they're not going to pay him any money. They would just lose him to free agency. Baltimore steps up and trades Grayson Rodriguez, a kid that had an injury left arm, but a stud of an arm.
Yeah.
So if he comes back healthy like he's expected to, that's a monster deal. Why is that interesting to the Rays? Because that was one of the guys that I thought that the Angels were putting out there. The other one being Joe Adell.
Yeah.
And Joe Adell's the younger version of Taylor Ward, who has a couple of more years left of arbitration. I still feel that quietly the Rays might be trying to manipulate something with the Angels. At least I hope so, because there's just not that many bats out there to fix. You have 3 issues that you really, really need to fix with the Rays, right? You need a power hitter, number one. You need an outfield power hitter, right? You need a catcher that you can. Jason Heim now just got DFA'd by the Rangers. That's an interesting sort, a guy that was an all-star 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Who hasn't really shown up the last couple of years, especially this past year. But it's a veteran catcher. I like him. Do you go after JT Realmuto and pay the big dollars?
It's not, and that's projected to be 2 years, 30.
Yeah, it's
not huge dollars.
It's not huge, but it's a commitment, for a guy that's 36 years old.
They'll pay.
They'll do that.
Yeah,
so you need a catcher, and then
how about we have Michael LaRue to interrupt
you
here? Who asked Twins catcher Ryan Jeffers is a potential trade target for the Rays.
I think so too.
Projected salary is 6.6 next season. He's in a 1.2 WAR last year. Nice. Hit 266, 47 runs scored, 47 RBIs, 9 home runs in 406 at bats.
Right.
I don't know what he's defensively. 1.2 WAR suggests he's pretty good defensively, but I don't know a ton about him. So
yeah, that's listen, you got to figure out the catching scenario.
Yeah.
Way before you go into spring training. So I think that's optimal for them right now. I mean, they do have, I will say that they have one kid, and I'm going to look him up real quick right now.
The Rays?
Yeah, that I've heard a lot about.
The kid they just protected on the 40-man roster.
Right. What is it? Keegan. Dominic Keegan.
Yeah.
They're real high on him. He's more of an offensive than defensive catcher, but supposedly getting better and better. And he's at that time, that precipice now for his own career. Basically, I believe he's 24, 25 years old. So he's kind of hit that spot where, it's make or break. So that's an interesting sort. I like him. He's a big kid, 6 foot, 210, got some pop and had a solid season in the minor league. So yeah, do you go with a no-name minor leaguer? He's not a blue chipper per se. Or do you go out and get somebody? So going back to the outfield thing and the power needed, that's where Adell for me is a fit, and you could have him for a couple of years, fairly controlled. He kicks ass next year. You tie him up, and he becomes one of those core guys now. Along with Caminero. You put Adell and Caminero back to back, bro.
Yeah.
I'm concerned as a pitcher at that point. You've got some power now. And what do you give up? Possibly Brandon Lau goes to, to the Angels, who definitely don't have a second baseman. And then you fill the spot. We've talked about that ad nauseum, that you need to find a spot for Simpson comfortably to get 500 at bats. Because I think that kid could score 125 runs.
Steal 70, 80 bags.
And score 100, more importantly, score 125 runs.
Exactly.
So you need to generate more runs. That's the bottom line, because this team kind of hit a wall where they weren't generating the runs, at the second half of the season they did earlier.
Michael LaRue asked, could the Rays look at bringing back Zach Eflin, Zach Littell, or Adrian Hauser this offseason? Littell and Hauser each projected to make around $10 million a year.
Yeah, I like Hauser. I like Hauser a lot. He pitched better for Baltimore earlier than he did for the Rays, but I think he's an interesting arm, and that I would consider.
By the way, Zach Eflin, I see this all the time on social media. I don't want to bring him back. He said mean things about the fans. What did he say? Is basically more people show up in Baltimore than do Tampa.
Yeah.
Fact. Fact. Get over it, folks.
Yeah, get over that. We're trying to build a situation where you do have that Baltimore fandom. Remember, Baltimore went through a stretch too where people were wearing bags over their heads just a few years ago, and they've kind of circled back a little bit. But you also have Baltimore that has a history that's 100 years old.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then some. Really, Baltimore is one of the first teams if you go way back into the early 1900s. So there's a history of baseball in Baltimore that's been grandfathered and great grandfathered in. So it's hard to compare the two. We're trying to build that parent, grandfather, great grand. We're on the way, but I think this new ownership could be the precipice of that great fandom in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years that truly builds.
Michael LaRue has another comment.
Michael's busy. Good to see you, Michael.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yeah.
We love your comments.
Steven Souza Jr. has been named the Padres hitting coach.
How about that?
It still stings that the Rays once flipped Trey
Souza.
Turner and Joe Ross to get Souza.
That was
That's still the worst trade in Rays history.
That might have been.
I don't know.
That was yeah, we've had some. But
did Zach Paredes ring a bell?
Yeah. Well, we don't know completely just yet where it's going to turn out with Isak. I mean, he did a great job, but he was injured a lot this past year. So, but there's no doubt that Isak is a stud of a hitter, and our boy Morel is not.
Quite not.
But I will say that big fan of Souza.
Yeah.
I mean, I just loved that guy.
He was a great personality.
What a personality. Would run through a wall literally for his teammates.
I saw him try to do that a couple of times in right field.
Right. So good for Steven.
Yeah.
And I think again, one of those Rays that that resurfaces.
Worst trade in Rays history. There's a few to choose from.
And that was a weird trade because that was a 3-way trade. So
yeah,
that was but Trey has definitely turned out to be
Will Myers was in that deal too. That wasn't
yeah.
What was that deal? Let me see.
That was a San Diego San Diego Rays and Washington.
Trying to find it here.
It was Washington, San Diego, and the Rays.
Yeah, Will Myers was involved, and Trey Turner.
Trey Turner went to Washington.
Yeah.
Suze went to us. Will went to San Diego.
So Will Myers from Tampa Bay to San Diego, and Trey Turner from San Diego. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it technically it wasn't where we could have had. Yeah. Trey Turner. It was we were wanting this power outfielder, athletic outfielder that he was, and for minutes at a time, Steven was actually quite good.
Yeah. He had some good years. That for sure. All right. What else we want to get into here? We talked about the two big trades. Yes.
My boy.
Yes.
So by the way, this hat.
Yeah. So tell us the story about that hat.
Yeah. Let me tell you the story about this hat because I woke up this morning and obviously the news and what it says on there is Pitching Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
This is the hat that that a lot of the Rays Lions fans. This is a Sable Lions hat. And they created it for their pitchers. And it's actually apropos because their pitchers are actually ninjas. The Sable Lions pitchers for the last 5 or 6 years, maybe even a little longer, have been just dominating pitchers in the NPB, right? The problem has been that they've gone away from their hitting, the way they manage their games. And I was there all of last year and I knocked heads with them because one of the things that Japanese teams are notorious for doing when they go into slides is that they change lineups a lot. They just go and the leadoff hitter is hitting 9th and the 8th hitter is hitting 4th and the 4th hitter is hitting 3rd. They move it around. They send guys down if you're young and they punish you if you had, if you're
panic moves.
Panic moves. And on top of that, their development over the last few years of hitters has been atrocious, right? And their scouting pertaining to talented gaijins, which is a foreigner in Japan, atrocious. Sans this past season, where they had Phil Nevin's son, Tyler Nevins, go out there and really have a solid season. He had 280, hit 20 jacks, had about 80 RBIs. Good, nice season. They had nobody around him. So the bottom line is that the team averages just north of 3 runs a game. And the pitchers, in order to have, if you look up the Sable Lions, don't even worry about the 1-loss records of the pitchers, because it doesn't show how talented they are.
Yeah.
Because they have to have like a sub-3 ERA, if not a sub-2. That brings me to Tatsuya Imai. Imai-san is probably the top. No, not probably. He is the top pitcher coming out in the posting. So you have Murakami, the power hitting first base, third base, DH, right? Left-handed hitter, right-handed thrower. You have Okamoto from the Giants, the steady right-handed hitter, 29 years old. Murakami's 26. The guy that I would pick if I had to pick one of the 2 hitters, both first, third base, DH, but he's the more seasoned hitter, a guy that I think will adjust to major league pitching quicker. In the long run, maybe Murakami's going to be a 40 homer guy, but he's going to have a lot of holes, and they're going to exploit that. As far as the pitching, you have Imai, and Imai had a sub-2 ERA. I got to know him a lot last year, and there's no doubt that he's a pitching ninja. There's no doubt. The guy, what he tries to do, he's about 5'11", about $160 soaking wet, but he is ballsy, man. And what he tries to do is he tries to run. He's got great spin rate, right? So he really gets good release on the ball, and he throws you that high fastball about chest high, and guys swing under it. They pop it up. They don't square him up well. Plus, he's got the best slider in all of Japan this past year. Hands down, best slider. Splitter is not the best, but it's really, really good. And so this guy's going to sign with somewhere. But the controversy that just came up in the last day or so is that he comes out and he says, JP, I don't want to play for the Dodgers. And I'm paraphrasing, but he's basically saying, yeah, it's great. I'm friends with Roki Sasaki, with Yamamoto, with Ohtani. By the way, all these guys have shared in being WBC champions. Yeah. So they're buddies. But he's like, I want the challenge of not going to a team that has a Japanese player, because I want to really experience the new culture and kind of the challenge of kind of traversing through this myself, and B, I want to beat them. That'll be the bigger kind of like reward, is being able to knock off the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I thought I'm not surprised, because knowing him, and when I've been around him, he tries to talk to me in English. His English is broken, but he's been working on it. So this guy's been prepping his coming out for like the last 2 seasons, and he was really ready. And it's interesting that he did a press conference, or not a press conference, he did a podcast, and next to him was former Seibu Lion great Daisuke Matsuzaka, who was also one of those type of ballsy, put me in a situation that's difficult kind of guy. And I compare the 2 pitching styles, because as far as like their competitiveness, and he wants to see how far Ohtani can hit his fastball, or if he does beat him on his fastball. So this guy's very, very interesting that I've gotten to know. I don't see the Rays being able to match what his agent is going to ask for,
right?
Because of Scott Boras. I really see the team that fits for him is going to be either one of 3 teams. I think it's going to be either one of the 2 New York teams with Boston and the Mets, though the Mets have Senga, and he's saying, I don't want to play for a team that has a Japanese player. So the Yankees, but here's the team that makes probably most sense, the San Francisco Giants, because they've kind of have lost the rivalry of the Dodgers Giants, which is one of the greatest rivalries of baseball.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they've lost it.
It's cooled. I think it's cooled.
Yeah.
I think it's become more Dodgers Padres.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, last few years. Not that the Giants haven't been the little engine that could, and they do a lot with a little, but
I think he's setting it up to go there.
I think that
This
would
is
be,
part of
because
his
then
brilliant marketing.
that
plan.
would be a brilliant. You're in San Francisco. It's a West Coast, a lot of Japanese fandom, and it would be something incredible. But I'll tell you that I'll share another thing that's interesting to what the words that he was saying, because I was thinking back of when 1989, long time ago, when I first stepped foot with the Seibu Lions. Just so you understand the way that it's run over there. So back in the 80s and 90s, and it didn't change until the mid 2015 or so, the Japanese were very stringent about how successful they wanted their foreigners, their gaijins, to be. So they limited how many a team can have. So it was only 3 at that point,
Right.
with only 2 in the major league team. So 2 in the major league team, 1 in the minors, and you could rotate those 3. So I joined a team that had a guy in the minor leagues, a hitter, Tyler Van Berkelio, and he was struggling. He gets sent down. I come in as the stud DH, and then our other foreigner was a Taiwanese pitcher. So I had no Americans on my team.
Right.
And kind of interesting that he said those words, JP, because I had to kind of take on that challenge.
Yeah.
All the other teams I was playing, there was always 2 Americans on their team.
Right.
So they had a buddy system, right?
Right.
So I'd go into a game, against the whomever, and they had 2 guys. And I'd be the only, and I remember guys like Ralph Bryan and Mike Díaz, Tony Bernazard, Mike Marshall. They come up to me and they'd be like, "Man, you don't have anybody else." I go, "I know. I'm kind of,
Han Solo
doing
here.
this by fire."
Yeah.
But I think it made me a better player, because one of the reasons is because I felt like I needed to
assimilate
the culture, the team, what they were doing quicker. And I think that's what this kid is trying to do now. He wants to really engage himself with this challenge and have it not be easy. He knows it's going to be hard already just facing major league hitting.
Yeah, I got the quotes right there. He said, if there were another Japanese player on the same team, I could ask them about anything, right? But that's actually not what I'm looking for. In a way, I want to experience that sense of survival. When I come face to face with cultural differences, I want to see how I can overcome them on my own. That's part of what I'm excited about.
That's
it. That's fascinating.
A different sort.
Yeah.
He's a different sort. You've had some other ballsy kind of Japanese guys. Like I'd say Ichiro was one that came over here and was very
he had swag right away.
He had the swag right away.
Yeah.
I think Yu Darvish also had swag. Tanaka, and then you had some of the other guys that were very Sumasen. Sumasen is like, excuse me, that were still successful. I in that class I would put Matsui, I would put Nomo, I would put some of these other guys that were just very, very Japanesey, but not, and that's how we say it,
Japanesey.
Yeah. But not, the swag type thing. So I appreciate that, because it's going to be interesting how he develops. And there's another guy, Kona Takahashi, I've mentioned before last week, that is also with the Seibu Lions. Had a rough year last year in 24, came back a little bit this year. Big power arm, could start and relieve. I really think that the Rays should look at that type of guy. I think a lot of teams are looking at him because he could be similar to Senga, if you will, as far as a guy that's got a rubber arm.
Yeah, cool. By the way, Texas Roadhouse Wesley Chapel is our sponsor, one of our great sponsors. Want to say a shout out to them. So if you guys are thinking about, we're going to be doing a lot of Christmas shopping. A lot of you guys are going to go up to the outlet.
Yeah.
Just up there
on Highway 56,
Wesley Chapel, and right across 75 from there is the great.
Basically, yeah, right.
Roadhouse.
Annex. Yeah,
it's the Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, it's basically in between the Wiregrass Mall and the famous outlet mall out there.
There you go. And, so don't eat at the mall.
Yeah, do not stop on by in the afternoons or the early evening, and have yourself a comfort food at a comfortable price, because they really go all out, and the service impeccable.
Yeah. So many of these places these days, folks, They're not run. They're run by corporations, so to
Yeah.
speak. And this one obviously is a chain, but it is a very family-owned type family restaurant with Tyler, our friend there, who is the managing general partner, and it's the way they treat it. It's really like a family business.
Fantastic. And if you want to catch a game, you can do that up at the bar.
Kingmakers Tampa is where we're coming to you right now. A great private club here in Midtown Tampa. If you're looking for some shared office space and a really unique space, go to kingmakerstampa.com, find out what it's all about. You get lots of different things with your membership, so check it out online. And, of course, the Murphy Auto Group, Genesis of Tampa, doing great things in the community. And also at the end of the year, they're making deals on Genesis cars, which are absolutely fantastic vehicles. The GV70 and GV80, the coupe is fantastic. Just go test drive them, and you'll say this feels like a $150,000 sports car.
Yeah, really.
And it's half the price. So go check it out at Genesis of Tampa. They're making some great deals right now.
Outstanding.
Yeah. All right. It is Thanksgiving week.
It is Thanksgiving week.
So we are thankful for many things.
Many, many things.
What are the Rays thankful for?
What are the Rays thankful? And if you're a Rays fan, what are you thankful for?
New owners.
Yeah, number one. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think right off the bat, you have to be thankful that the deal was done and it didn't get dragged out. And it's really seemingly looking like it's the right owners, the right ownership, the right leadership, the right voices. Ken Babby is, I think, saying all the right things, and probably going to put a lot of his sayings to practice. So a lot to be thankful for that. Thankful for Junior Caminero.
Ooh.
I think Junior was not a dramatic surprise. I told you, I figured this kid would hit 30 to 35. He hit 45, drove in 110, was exciting. Talk about exciting and somebody that you could, latch onto and you want to for the next several years. Thank you, Junior Caminero. And congratulations, because I know he's thankful because just a couple of days ago, I believe, he just had his a little baby girl, Valentina. So he's extremely thankful. So we thank the Lord for that. A couple other things that I'm thankful for pertaining to the Rays. I'm thankful again. I'm going to circle back to where we started. I'm thankful for the city of St. Pete and what they've done and how well prepared they are being as far as getting Major League Baseball back in a Major League Stadium.
Yeah.
So you have to be
got our trop back.
You got a trop back. And any way you look at it, it's going to be better than ever. And there's 3 years to re-fall in love with the trop and re-engage with the Rays, at that level. That's huge, man. I don't think it could be downplayed, that much, because it could have been worse. Could be looking at an in-between scenario. Hey, we might not be ready till the middle of the year. And now where are you? You know what I mean? You're having to possibly play at Steinbrenner for a little while, then come over.
That would have been a disaster.
You got to applaud the city of St. Pete and that. And then, lastly, I applaud Kevin Cash, a local guy, and the stability that he's brought to this team for the last several years now. Yeah. So keep leading, keep going, and hopefully we're back in the playoffs next year and surprising some people.
Yeah, I think there's good things ahead for the Rays, as 100%. We detailed just in terms of baseball being fun again.
Yeah,
baseball being fun again. I can't wait for that.
I love that.
That's the part that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, and opening
I
day.
Ask, I didn't watch, and that shame on me. How did the Bolts do last night?
Oh, we won 3-0.
Nice.
Yeah, and the shutout for Vassy, his 41st career shutout. He was fantastic. The Flyers got a good record, but they're the lowest scoring team in the league, and we shut them down. And we're doing this without McDonough, without Hedman, and without Chernak, our three top defenders. Yeah. So the young kids have come up and done a fantastic job. Declan Carlisle,
back. He's definitely back.
Stu. Yeah,
he's back. Huh?
Oh yeah, he is looking good. He's fantastic. He
was injured, for a minute there, a few years.
Got a couple more quick questions here. I didn't see these. Yeah. Thomas Casper says, hire Phillips.
Oh, Brett Jr. In what capacity, Thomas? in any capacity. Actually, you know what? That's not a bad idea.
Ambassador?
In any capacity.
Ambassador,
Yeah,
baseball
exactly.
ambassador.
Yeah. He's done stuff for MLB as an ambassador already.
Bringing energy to the deal.
Yeah. And maybe it's being talked about. Brett, I've known Brett since high school, and his father, senior. What a wonderful family, and his mom,
local kid
from Seminole, Florida.
We like that,
and he is just a gem.
That moment at the World Series was honestly one of my favorite Rays moments ever, incredible. If not my favorite.
Yeah, well, 162 was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
162 was pretty good.
World Series, and it's just the
for me,
randomness of that play.
Because so much had to happen in order to 162 happen.
Yeah, that's true.
With them losing 7-0, Boston winning, Boston lost. They come back, they walk it off. The next inning, it is crazy, but great comment because listen, Brett Phillips Jr. is a salt of the earth human being.
And Mike says he's thankful for having Kevin Cash and Neander as leaders of his team.
Yeah.
I mean, we are thankful for that.
There's organizations that are not that lucky.
Oh, we
look at the Rockies.
But I'm so excited about getting back to the fun of baseball,
buddy.
And being able to celebrate Eric Neander and Cash and all of this without the but
there seems to be that's been lifted.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's a major thing.
Opening day, the Cubs will be here.
Screw opening day. Spring training.
Not that far away.
No, and I love spring training, and that's where you start
back to
creating
Port Charlotte,
the connectiveness. And
we need a new spring training.
Yeah, I'd like to get them closer.
Get them out of Port Charlotte.
Yeah.
No offense, Port Charlotte, but
sorry, Port Charlotte. Yeah, it's a bad guy over here. The Grinch.
Where would you? You know where they should. You know where they should go.
Port Charlotte.
You know where they should go.
Where?
Orlando.
Yeah.
At Disney, where the Braves used to train. That is
there was talk about that for
facility.
A while. Yeah.
It's a fantastic facility. We, it's not that far away.
Distance.
Yeah, that's actually closer than. Yeah. Well, depending on I-4.
It depends on I-4,
but
roughly the same.
But engage that market.
Yeah.
Engage that Orlando market. Like you want the Rays? All right, here's the Rays for spring. Come support them. And then come on. We should really court that market. And I think by
might be something to be
spring training there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it.
Thank you, partner.
Good
Thank
stuff,
you
man.
to our esteemed
turkey time
sponsors as well. Yep. Go out.
Damn time.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Home with the kids, visiting from college. Just stick around here. Then I'm going to go down south for Christmas. But sticking around here with family and friends.
Me too. Palmacia buffet. I'm coming.
Oh,
did
they blow out?
I'm coming for you.
Serious. Oof. Can I coat-tail on that one a little bit?
Sure.
Just a second meal.
Come on.
Eat mine earlier, and then what time you going?
Well,
over
you know,
there?
I should, because I pay for 2 children that eat like birds.
Serious.
And my wife. I mean, it's a good deal, but still,
they don't eat enough for what?
They don't eat anything.
No,
it's a donation.
You bring me, bro.
Yeah, we'd be cleaning up.
They'd be like
getting our money's worth.
You'll be here for an hour. You go home now.
And on that note, have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Tranquilo, tropical.